What's up, beautiful people, and welcome back to another sexy comic book review video where I say words and you, the beautiful people, listen. It is I, your crazy Nicolas Cage, your steward of Gondor, your genius, billionaire playboy, basic YouTuber philanthropist, SuperCliff. And would you kindly hit that like and subscribe button, for every little bit helps in this majestic YouTube world. And today we're covering DC's The Flash, issue number 768, written by Jeremy Adams, with the art drawn by Darko Lafante, Brandon Peterson, and Marco Santucci. And away we go, as the comic opens up with a synopsis page for Wally West, showcasing to us some of the panels which feature the most important moments of Wally West's history. The day Wally obtained his speed powers, the day him and Barry raced for the first time, the day he married at Linda Park, when his kids were born, when the entire world cracked during the events of Heroes in Crisis, along with what happened to him most recently during Scott Snyder's Dark Knight's death metal. So yeah, basically Wally West has been through a lot. And when I say he's been through a lot, I mean, holy shit, has he been through a lot. Therefore, it's why Wally is announcing to the Justice League that he's decided to quit being the Flash. And though everyone from Superman to Batman to Barry Allen is like, what? Green Arrow is pretty excited about this news. But we have to remember that this is clearly coming from a place of distrust, since it was Wally who murdered Roy during Heroes in Crisis. Side note, what a terrible story that was. Okay, back to the point. So after Green Arrow shares his enthusiasm towards Wally's decision to quit being the Flash, both Barry and Superman are like, Green Arrow's wrong. You know, he's just being a jerk. But Batman chimes in, saying that whether right or wrong, we have a lot that needs to be tended to, specifically the recent discovery of the Omniverse. Therefore, the team can't afford to entertain heroes who are half in, half out. They need people who are 100%. And if you guys remember back in Infinite Frontier issue 0, Barry Allen was going to depart the team in order to investigate the Omniverse, while Wally was going to take his place within the Justice League. Now, with Wally's sudden resignation, this throws off everything. Therefore, Batman asks Barry to postpone his investigation, at least until they can find someone else to replace him. Barry agrees. But in the meantime, Wally asks his fellow speedster for one more favor. And this is where we pan off to where both Barry and Wally are suited up in their costumes, alongside Linda Park. And so what's happening here is that Wally wants to cut his connection off from the Speed Force. Because from Wally's perspective, that he knows that if he's connected to the Speed Force, he'll still use his powers. He'll still be the Flash. And with everything that's happened to him of late, added with the fact that both his kids and his wife Linda are back as they were prior to Flashpoint and the New 52, Wally essentially has his life back in order. And by no means does he want to get ruined again. Therefore, the only way Wally believes will help keep his family intact if he no longer possesses speed powers. And the way to do that is for both Barry and Wally to run as fast as they can, so that once both speedsters have reached their peaks, Barry ideally can separate Wally from the Speed Force, sort of like how he did so to Reverse Flash during Joshua Williamson's run. And it's with that where our two heroes begin to run alongside one another for one last time, as they travel all across the planet while stopping crime at the same time. We can see both speedsters running through Hub City where they stop Bloodsport from murdering people. In Metropolis, they take out Superman baddie Metallo. And heck, they're going so fast that they even prevent Ocean Master from calling upon a tidal wave to attack the surface. Eventually, the two speedsters reach the point where it's time for Barry to separate Wally. However, that doesn't happen because suddenly a wave of energy manages to strike Wally, as if he were looking directly into the Ark of the Covenant, except without the weird face-melting weirdness. But you know what? I digress. Now, following that surge of energy, Barry is left standing somewhere within the city of Paris, whilst also holding onto Wally's empty Flash costume. So, knowing that something's clearly wrong, Barry begins to run back to base. But sadly, Barry can't tap into the Speed Force because he realizes right then and there that his powers are gone. Later, after calling in a pickup flight from Green Arrow, the two head back to the Justice League's lab so that they can figure out as to what just happened to both Barry and Wally. Now, speaking of Wally's whereabouts, we check in with Wally as he wakes up somewhere in the middle of a jungle, wearing prehistoric caveman attire. And suddenly, once Wally gets up, he sees dinosaurs all around him. And yeah, you guessed it, our hero is definitely getting those Alan Grant vibes from Jurassic Park. Now, back at Justice League's lab, we see Barry checking in with fellow speedsters Jay Garrick, Max Mercury, and Kid Flash via hologram. And like Barry, all three are reporting that they too have been separated from their speed powers. Suddenly, Mr. Terrific walks in to assist with Barry's investigation. And after the two finish exchanging notes that they received from various people like Booster Gold and President Superman from the House of Heroes, Barry suggests that the Speed Force took Wally away, Now check it, because when it comes to the Speed Force and as to what it is specifically, in truth, there's still a butt ton of information that we as comic book fans, along with the characters within the story, don't know. But we do know that the Speed Force essentially connects the entire Omniverse together, sort of like a cosmic form of unseen radio waves, just waiting to be picked up by the right conduit. And because Wally has a special connection to the Speed Force, as opposed to everyone else, Barry assumes that the Speed Force chose Wally for a reason. Ollie then mentions that perhaps the Speed Force is wounded, because according to Oliver, since the Speed Force is alive, much how like an animal would react if it were wounded, it's going to pull in on themselves, basically reboot and or rebuild. So the hypothesis to all of this is that the Speed Force chose Wally to possibly patch itself up due to his special connection. Therefore, if that's the case, then Wally is still connected to the Speed Force. And if that's still the case, then they can track Wally down. Now, picking up back with Wally, we see our red-headed hero trying to make sense of what's exactly is going on. And as Wally is exploring, he comes across a pond of water. And instead of seeing himself, Wally's reflection is shown to be some random caveman's. And that's where Wally begins to assume that he's actually inside the body of a caveman. Suddenly, a giant crocodile pops out of the water to snack on Wally. However, the crocodile fails because it sucks, and also because Wally, due to pure instinct, taps into the Speed Force, thereby is able to easily avoid the crocodile's jaws of death. And so immediately seeing that there's nothing else that he can do, Wally starts goofing off with his powers. Like heck, even the dude pulls a Flintstone move. Yabba dabba doo! Now, unfortunately, playtime's going to have to end because a Velociraptor begins to chase Wally down. But this isn't your typical Velociraptor, for this is a Velociraptor who's tapped into the Speed Force. So basically, Wally West at this moment is really screwed. Meanwhile, at the Justice League's lab, Barry puts his theoretical idea to the test as Mr. Terrific activates the process, projecting Barry's voice via tachyon waves into the Speed Force, sort of like a telephone signal. And while Wally West is still trying to not get eaten, Barry's message is able to get through to Wally. Wally then provides Barry with the rundown to what's happening on his end, telling Barry that rather than being stuck within the Speed Force itself, he's instead stuck within the Jurassic era, whilst being chased by a Speed Raptor, which according to Wally, seems to have been infected by the Speed Force. Plus, Wally mentions that his consciousness is trapped inside of a caveman's. Barry begins to speculate that due to Wally having been caught up in a surge, which was pulsated by the Speed Force, the energy catapulted Wally's consciousness into another open conduit, which shares the Speed Force's powers within this Jurassic timeline. Plus, due to Wally having the strongest connection to the Speed Force, Barry's working theory is that it might be using Wally to fix whatever it is that's wrong. However, as Wally is listening to everything Barry is saying, the Speed Raptor that's currently chasing him is suddenly shown to be surging forth with immense power while shaking, like Shakira, as if it's almost overheating with tons of Speed Force energy. Suddenly, boom, the Speed Raptor that once was is no more, as it explodes, which alludes to the question, did Wally West just cause the Raptor to overheat, resulting in mass level extinction in the process? Seriously, did Wally West just kill the freaking dinosaurs? Anyways, back within the Justice League's lab, Barry starts freaking out after losing connection with Wally. Fearing the worst, Barry decides to risk his life, showcasing that he's willing to do whatever it takes to get him back. However, Oliver tries to calm him down, but from Barry's point of view, he feels that none of this should have happened in the first place. For if the team and everyone forgave Wally, then perhaps he would still be here, and that he would still be the Flash. Barry also mentions that if this were anyone else, like, example, Roy Harper, then Oliver would have sacrificed 10,000 babies to do so. Okay, probably not, but you know what? I digress. Suddenly, Wally's signal is reestablished, confirming that he's still alive. However, though Wally's alive, he's no longer stuck in the era of dinosaurs, as Wally comments, saying that he's now stuck somewhere within the future. And once Wally turns around, he sees a reflection of himself, as it's revealed that Wally is now in the body of Bart Allen, aka Impulse. But hold on to your butts, folks, because once Wally turns back around, Gold Beetle runs up to Wally, shouting that the two of them need to run away immediately, as a giant kaiju-sized Dominator is about to attack them both. And that was The Flash, issue number 768. And I gotta say, this was a damn good issue. But before I continue, I just want to pinpoint that this was actually my first ever Flash comic that I've purchased. Now, hold on. I've read Flash comics before, like, I've read Williamson's run prior to this, and, I know my Flash, but this was the first issue that I've picked up during an ongoing Flash series. So yeah, let's just all take in a moment to celebrate this global experience of mine. Oh! Anyways, yeah. But yeah, like I said, this issue was amazing. So let's start from the top. Jeremy Adams does an excellent job in making sure this issue feels fun and alive, while also having it not be a, hey, I'm Wally West, please forgive me session. Plus, it's made clear even further that DC is moving far, far away from the whole deep depression that was Heroes in Crisis. And to be completely honest, no offense to Tom King, that direction can only be a major plus for us fans. In addition, by introducing this new concept that the Speed Force is wounded and as a result it's acting in a defensive instinct is really cool. And plus seeing how the Speed Force is seemingly transferring Wally across various time eras is also an interesting way to explore the current status quo of Wally West. Not to mention that it also makes me wonder as to why the Speed Force even chose Wally for this job to begin with. So yeah, great job Jeremy Adams. Now when it comes to the book's art, 'twas quite good. Definitely seeing the three artists use their respected styles for each of the literal past, present, and future eras was a neat trick, and not once did I feel distracted in knowing that there were actually three artists who were involved with this book. Overall, this issue was fun, welcoming, and very meaty for its story, which is always great, especially since DC of late have raised the prices on their books. So yeah, good stuff, and I can't wait for the next issue. The Flash issue number 768 gets a lovely 9 out of 10. Giggity goo.